I want you to share what are your questions around up-leveling your self-worth. Hey, Rafat, good morning. I am so excited about this topic. Hey, Sabrina, how are you? So good to have you here. So as you guys are coming in, we're talking today about how your income will never exceed your level of self-worth. It can't. It actually can't. And this is something so many people miss. So this is something they don't teach you in normal sales training. This was never taught to me for years when I was in corporate sales. And I didn't even really get this, I would say, until like the past maybe 6 months. But if you or your sales team or whoever it is, if you're not hitting your income goals, I want to invite you to look at, it may not be that you just need another strategy. It may not be that you just need a better closing line. Sure, could that help? Absolutely. But if you do not feel worthy of making that amount of money, it can't come in, or at least it can't come in sustainably. So we got to look at what are the money blocks that are holding you back from bringing in the amount of money you want to make. So as you're coming in, if you are on Facebook or LinkedIn, drop a comment so I know you're here. I definitely want to be able to engage with you while you're here. So this is something that blocked me for a long time from receiving more money. Was I remember for so long, like I was kind of at that like $10,000, $15,000 a month range, which is a great place to be. And I'm not knocking it. And that's my passion, is helping women get there fast and then exceed it. So that's a great amount of money to make. But you hit it and then you realize like, oh, I actually need more to live the type of life I really want to live, for many of us, right? Especially women who tend to be attracted to what I do. They want to make more than that. And I remember thinking like, I want to make 7 figures. Like I genuinely wanted that. But when I would think about it, there was a part of me that didn't actually feel worthy of it. Can you relate to that? Let me know if you're here live. Let me know in the comments, like, can you relate to that at all? Oh, hey, Lee, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. Vinay, yes, thank you. It's so true, right? If we don't feel worthy of it, we can't bring it in, or it's going to be way harder than it needs to be. So I would think about like having a 7-figure business, and then I would not feel worthy of it. And so, of course, it didn't come in. Of course it didn't come in, and it wouldn't matter what I tried to do differently. It wouldn't matter if I tried to launch a new program or tried to improve my sales skills. I just stayed kind of stuck at that same level. And we wonder, Rafat saying yes is, yeah, I know you get this. We wonder why we don't feel worthy of the information we want, or sorry, the information we want, of the money we want. We wonder why we don't feel worthy. Well, I don't know about you, but for me, even growing up, like I remember in church singing songs about I'm not worthy. Can you relate to that at all? And it was like, it was applauded to be, and not that there's anything wrong with being humble, but there's a difference between being humble and not feeling worthy. Okay. And it was applauded to feel like you didn't deserve anything, like you weren't worth much, right? And there was like this weird kind of celebration of that, at least in the church I went to growing up. And this stuff is conditioned and it's ingrained. And it becomes, for so many of the women that I work with, either in private coaching or in the 10K club, it's a big part of the conversation. I was coaching a woman this past week doing a private intensive, and she's done really well. Like she's on her way to $1 million business this year in her first year. But we were talking about like how much she energetically feels like she wants to bring in. And yet there was this part of her that didn't feel worthy of it. And so if we kind of zip over that and don't address that, we're missing what's probably the number one thing that's holding you back from getting what you want. And so for me, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know about at the end of 2020, the decision I made where it was like, I'm no longer available to play small in any area of my life. It involved investing a hunk of money that I didn't have into coaching. It involved all sorts of things. And you can go and listen to my podcast episode, The Decision That Changed My Life, which was a couple episodes ago. And then this week, what I learned from my first 6-figure month, you can listen to those for more context. But I remember I knew, because I've been studying money and prosperity for some time, like I knew energetically I had to start feeling like a 7-figure earner before it was going to come into my life. So this is not woo. This is just science. This is just physics. Rafat's saying no more playing small. Yes, I know you get this. Everything vibrates at a frequency. It is how our planet works. There is a frequency to money. There is a frequency to you that's determined by the emotions that you feel throughout the day. So if you want more money, like let's say you were like me and you were like, I want to hit 7 figures, or maybe you want to hit your first 6 figures, whatever. And you want to bring it in, but you're not at that level. You're putting out, like, you want what feels like abundance, freedom, prosperity, like ease, allowing. You want that in your life, but your feelings are feelings of fear, scarcity, constriction, right? Like I used to feel that, like, that constriction in my heart, that kind of like pit in my stomach when I would think about making more money. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. That's how it works. Hey, Jamie, how are you? So when you have that feeling inside of you, but you're saying, I want more money, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you want. You always get back a direct reflection of what you are feeling. So you have to vibrate at that frequency of that money you want to bring in before it can come into your life. It's how it works. So for me, when I made that decision and that commitment that I was going to bring in more, and then I wanted it to happen fast, I had to do the inner work first. And I had to start meditating and feeling every morning what it was like to be a woman who had a 6-figure month, to be a woman who brought in 7 figures a year. And then it's not just about the money, because money only goes where there's a purpose. So you have to have a purpose to the money. So I would start feeling what it was like to tell my husband he could go part-time at work. I would start feeling what it was like to take him on a shopping trip and for me to get more clothes too. And I would start to literally cry tears of gratitude for a future that hadn't happened yet. And this is how it works, guys. If you're like, how in the world does manifesting work? This is how it works. You have to become it before it happens in your world. This is how, and we get tripped up because we think the way I feel depends on my outer circumstances. Well, your outer circumstances are just a result of the thoughts and feelings and behaviors that you had up until now. So there's always there's a time lag, right? Where you do something and it sends out these kind of energetic repercussions in the universe, and then it always comes back to you, but there's time lag. So for me, it was about, I would say 4 weeks or so of really doing that daily work, that commitment to feeling it and expressing gratitude for it and starting to live into this future before it had happened. And then like that, it happened in my physical world. So that's how it works. But I had to get over that hump of not feeling worthy of the money. So I want to just check, because I know we've had some comments coming in over here on Facebook and Instagram. So Vinay is saying, it's funny, most of the times you believe can't punch through. You are right. Yeah, that's exactly. It's like, and you look at people who make a lot of money, and it's all relative, but maybe you look at people who make a lot of money and you say, either I don't agree with their ethics, or I could do what they're doing better than them. Well, frankly, they probably feel worthy of that money. And it doesn't matter. It's agnostic, right? It's the universe is relative. I think everything's working for us. I think we live in a really loving universe, but it's also agnostic, where if you feel worthy of a certain amount of money and you're vibrating at that frequency, it's going to come back. So I'm just looking at Lee saying, I didn't learn this lesson very late. What about the person who thinks they're worthy of a higher salary, but they haven't bothered them? Yeah, Lee, that's a great question. So you have to also demonstrate it. So when you say demonstrating their worth, the way I'm reading that is taking action. And so it's, this whole thing is not just about sitting on the meditation cushion all day and feeling worthy of it. What happens, and this is the cool thing, is when you start feeling worthy of that money and you start visualizing that future before it happens, you're going to get ideas, and you're going to have something pop in your head that says do this social media post, or reach out to this customer, or launch this business. Your job is to take those inspired actions and remain unattached to what happens, because you never know how one thing that you do. Maybe it doesn't work out the way you thought it would, but it's opening the door to something else to come into your life. Your only job is to stay in faith and trust that what you are feeling and emotionalizing and visualizing very clearly is coming, because it has to. It's universal law, but you don't get to decide when and how. So that's the piece, is like, we got to get a little unattached to when and how. We just get to be excited that it's coming. But then you have to take the inspired action. You have to take the inspired action and do the next step and the next step and the next step. And I'll tell you, usually those inspired actions are things that are going to scare you. So I think it was a post this week, like, everything you want is on the other side of fear. You need to start looking at feeling afraid of doing something is your green light that the future you want is on the other side of it. And for me, that was a lot of this process of really making that fast financial up level, was doing things that terrified me. It involved posting on social media, like singing publicly after I had it for so long, doing Instagram reels when I had so much resistance to them. But I was getting the downloads and the instructions to do these things. And the other thing to know too is the instructions and the guidance, it'll come as sometimes like an intuitive hit, but it can also come as messages from other people. So in my instance, I had hired a coach and invested in a really high level in this coach. And my commitment to myself was, I'm going to do whatever she says. Like, I am committed to making this thing happen. I'm going to do whatever she says. And she told me to do stuff that scared the pants off of me, but I did it because I trusted and had faith that I'd been intuitively guided to hire her. So the right actions were also going to be given to me through her, in addition to my own ideas, thoughts, and inspiration. So I'm just looking to see if there are other questions on here. There's a deeper truth in fake it till you make it. Yeah, I love that, Vinay. And I think it's when you say, yeah, it's like fake it till you make it. But it's the inner game, right? Because I think a lot of people, and I love that you brought that up. I think a lot of people hear fake it till you make it, and they just say, well, I just have to act like the person who does this thing. And sometimes acting like the person who does that thing will get you feeling inwardly like it too. So there's definitely truth in that. But you have to at some point internalize it so it no longer feels like faking it. So you feel like you're living out a future that's not your reality yet, but every day you're showing up as that person, and you'll start to notice the outer manifestation of your world will change, so you're no longer faking it. And here's how you know that your mind has accepted this new level for you as truth, is you no longer feel resistance to it. So for me, when I started meditating on 100K months and my bank account still didn't show that, for a while I felt resistance. I felt like I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this, but it's not, like, it doesn't feel real for me yet. You have to keep going. You have to keep showing up and just practicing and feeling, what does that feel like? At a certain point, your subconscious it will accept it as truth, but you're rewiring neural pathways. So those neural pathways, science shows by the age of 35, they're mostly formed in your brain. But we used to think you couldn't rewire much beyond that. And new science shows that you can. And this is what's so exciting, is you have this conditioning that may have been in your mind since birth, and you may think you're stuck with a certain pattern or a certain threshold, a certain level of health, a certain level of money, but you're not. You can rewire anything, but you have to expect that you're going to feel some resistance at first, and that's normal. That's just, you're rewiring the pathway. When you no longer feel like that doesn't really feel true to me, then you know your subconscious has accepted it as truth. And your subconscious, its whole design is to not make you a liar. So whatever you think is true for you, whatever your subconscious, like your belief systems that your subconscious has accepted, whatever your subconscious belief systems are, your brain's job is to make those things true for you. So the key is, you got to rewire the belief first. And this is something that I do with my women in my program that I'm so passionate about, because whatever the goal is for you, whether it's 10K months, whether it's 100K months, whether it's something even unrelated to sales or money, when you naturally take on the identity of that person who just has those things, it comes to you. It shows up. Your brain will start to look for opportunities, situations. It'll start to give you ideas for how to make that thing that's now your belief that belief that I'm worthy of 100K months, or I'm worthy of a great relationship, or I'm worthy of, peak health, like it will start to help you identify opportunities, people, situations to make those things your reality. So this is how it works, but you have to feel worthy of it. You have to feel worthy of it. The universe will only give you, God in the universe, whatever your word is, it only gives you what you feel worthy of. So I'm just looking at comments here. Litmus test. You don't feel resistance anymore. Yes, then it is real. And where we get choked up, and where I used to get choked up, is I would think like, I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. Wayne Dyer had a great quote. He said, you'll see it when you believe it. You'll see it when you believe it, which is like, it gives me full body chills to think about that. Thank you for the hearts. Hey, Chloe, I'm so glad you're here. So but again, we live in time lag. So whatever that, you have to start to feel that inner state, feeling worthy, feeling receptive, feeling grateful. Gratitude is so important. You have to feel grateful for something that hasn't happened yet. And then it starts to come back. Thank you for the hearts. It's like, then your outer world will start to shift itself. Again, for me, it took like 4 weeks, which, guys, that's not long. Like, that is not long. And if there's any level of like major delay in you getting what you want, it's just that it's a little bit more of a stretch for you. So that's all. Like, whatever you think is going to be easy for you, whatever you have very little resistance around, comes in fast. If there's something that you feel greater resistance around, that's okay. Just know it may take like a month or 2 months or 6 months or whatever, but the time's going to pass anyway. It's going to pass anyway. Wouldn't you rather have it pass, like with you creating this incredible new reality that you get to then live out for the rest of your life? And just know, like, it only goes up from there. This whole thing, like, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, or I'm waiting for it all to go away. It's not true, guys. It's not true. And this is something like, I struggled with that for so long too. And that's probably another live, because we don't have time for it today, but I can talk about it. DM me if that's like a fear of yours, is it's going to get really good and then it's all going to go away. Because that's actually tied to usually like the situation you grew up in, and abandonment feelings around your parents. I was coaching a client on that this week. So again, it's all belief system. It's all up here. It's all what you feel worthy of. It's all what you think to be true for you. But you can change anything in your belief system with the right guidance, coaching, systems, processes, and time. Vinay's saying, yeah, I would love to revisit our chat. Yeah, I would love it. Absolutely. Send me a DM. I'm so glad you enjoyed this topic. Yeah, it's like, whew, this is my passion and purpose right now, is to share this with you guys. And any questions you have, send me a DM. But just notice that, like, if it's felt like a struggle to create, I focus on money a lot, but like whatever it is, if it's felt like a struggle to create what you want to bring into your life, check in. Do you feel worthy of it? And when you can even just ask yourself, like, do I feel worthy of making 6 figures this year? Do I feel worthy of whatever? If you feel constriction or tightness in any part of your body, there's a part of you that doesn't. If you feel expansion, if you feel relaxed, if you feel at ease, you do feel worthy. And your job is now just to start visualizing that more and emotionalizing it and getting excited about how it's going to come in. And I'll share this one last thing. Like, the beauty of this process is that when you do it repeatedly, again and again, you start feeling so good that you actually don't care if it comes in. And that was how it happened for me. I was just so damn grateful to not feel like any limitations or restriction or lack in my life anymore, that I was like, I don't really care if the money comes in. Like, I knew it would, because I knew it had to, because it's energetic law. But you want what you want because you think it's going to make you feel a certain way. You want more money because you think it's going to make you feel prosperous, abundant, free. The trick is you have to feel that first. You have to match the frequency of it first, and then it must match you. Everything in your life is an energetic match to your thoughts, feelings, belief systems up until this point. So when you start to shift those, you get new things, and they're better. It's my pleasure, Chloe. I'm so glad that this was helpful. Guys, I'm going to hop off. I've got a mastermind call at the top of the hour. I want to invite you, if this topic resonates with you, come join me. I've got a masterclass coming up on the 23rd, Your First 6 Figures. it's like live coaching for me on this and just a much deeper dive. I would love to help support you. Send me a DM if you want the link, and send me a DM if you have questions on this, or if I can help support you in any other way. I would absolutely love to. I love you. You are worthy of what you want. What you want wants you back. Remember that it is for you. Trust your desires, trust your instincts. I'm so grateful and honored to have been able to spend this time with you this morning, and I will see you soon. Mwah, mwah. Bye for now, guys.